Let's just quickly continue with where we were. I just want to, of all the things that I've said, I think finally we come to a kind of a conclusion that what is education has done for us. This is what one article that was written by a very renowned academic, Suzanne, that talks about equalizer no more. In other words, education is no longer a place where equalize. There's no longer a place where we find that you can help people to move up on the same sort of pedestal together. And he talked about the failure of the ivory tower. Yeah, and certainly there's a case study coming out from a film called The Ivory Tower itself. And The Ivory Tower punya ni is a film made by CNN together with Columbia University. I think you can download it. You will see what the issue is, but finally their punya conclusion is something like this. The American system of higher education is in a crisis. Over the past 30 years, it has gone from facilitating upward mobility to exacerbating social equality. And if you look around Malaysia, I think there is something which is also happening very, very quickly. Ya, antara yang berada yang boleh dapat pendidikan yang baik dengan yang tidak berada yang tak boleh dapat pendidikan langsung pun ada. Right? And this, I think, is of concern because if education cannot equalize, then what else can equalize? And I think the question becomes an important question as we move forward, given the disparity that I talked to you earlier. The other issue that we have not even looked at is basically what is a good education. So people will talk about the Korean, the Japanese, the Singapore model, which I think is not a problem to understand that. They are good. Yeah? If you look at TIMSS and PISA and stuff like that. But when you look at South Korea, which is supposed to be one of the best, and we are supposed to emulate them, look at the suicide rates. Yeah? Maknanya, as education is deemed to be good, but the pressure on the students are equally high. Right? And I was there 2015 to attend the World Economic Forum. Saya punya hotel katalah that side, and the conference is here. As I walk from the hotel to the conference hall, other students got their own exhibition along the streets. And the exhibition talks about system of education in Korea that the government does not speak about. And what is the first one? They got the suicide rate. Tremendous suicide rate when they cannot perform and they cannot go into universities and stuff like that. So my issue is basically there is other issue yang ada kena-mena dengan kehidupan and social life that we are not concerned at all. We are so directed to our academic work that we don't care about the community, we don't care about the human problem per se, right? And this is something that I think we want to look at, because when I talk to the Finland punya Director General baru-baru ini, dia kata in Finland we don't have suicide rate, of course, but they don't even have homework. I cannot imagine our school with no homework. You know, they don't have, because dia kata dia punya curriculum tu saja sudah cukup. It's already sufficient to build not human capital but human beings. That's the greater contrast that I will talk to you a little bit. So when you look at the last 20 years, you find that the suicide rate is kind of double over a period of time. Yeah? So where is the issue? Now, the issue is, bagi saya, when we look at the 6 aspirations yang ada ini, all these are done very well because I'm part of the monitoring knowledge, thinking skills, leadership skills, language, and so on and so forth. The worst that is tracked is this one, ethics and spirituality. And one of the reasons why it's not well tracked because they don't have a KPI. So kita punya mindset ni dah terlampau KPI, tak ada KPI kita tak boleh buat. You don't know what to measure. Apa nak measure, Tan Sri? Well, I asked them, when you go semayang Zuhur, apa yang you measure? What do you measure when you do solat? 4 kali tunggang tunggik tu okay ke? We don't measure that. We measure something else. So we need to shift our mindset of what is it that you need to measure and what is it that you don't have to measure. And this is a case of ethics and spirituality. There's no numbers that you can measure. It's a question of attitude, a question of self-control, a question of courage, wisdom and temperance yang kita katakan tadi. Yeah? So this is where I think we begin to dwell a little bit on the Qalb itself, right? Now, we understand this, everybody has got this. If you don't have this, then you should not be here. But you also know that there is a structure to this. We also understand this, we have seen this, yeah? All the supply system, and all these are in a balance. I want to emphasize on the word balance. Yeah? And it also works, and also works in a balance. The blood that comes in, the blood that comes out must be in a balance. Yang masuk and keluar tak sama, then I think we have got problems as far as heart is concerned. And that is also balanced by its own environment. Your red blood cells, your white blood cells, your platelets, you have low blood cells and they have also problems. Yeah? So in other words, this whole issue of balance ni memang sebahagian daripada hidup kita. It's part of parcel of our daily makeup. We don't have to pretend that it doesn't exist. All right? And when we meet a doctor, dia kata, okay, you have to do exercise to keep your heart in balance. So orang tua-tua have to do walking, and say yang muda-muda will have to do all sorts of things just to keep that balance. I want to emphasize on this word balance. And we do this religiously. Yeah? Every morning, tak apa, pergi jogging, tak ada jogging, beli treadmill, jogging juga, yeah? Half an hour, kalau tidak rasa tak lengkap, takut we are out of balance and we can go into the grave quicker than we thought. But there is another part of the heart that we are not quite concerned with. This is the part yang tidak ada KPI. But it's there and it also keeps the balance dalam konteks ini. Yeah? And this is where we develop the spirituality punya konsep. Nah, bila Al-Ghazali cakap tentang apa tu, tentang the four wisdom, tu cakap tu wisdom, courage, temperance, and justice. Just like the physical heart, dia ada juga 4 komponen. Except that we cannot touch, we cannot see, but we know. Yeah? We know bila niat kita tak bagus, we know this temperance part does not work well. Yeah? We know sometimes bila kita pengecut, this is what? Apa ni? Niat kita tak betul. We know where wisdom is. This is something that you cannot measure, but you know. And you know by nurturing it. There's no numbers that you can latch onto, right, in this particular context. And every one of this has got this definition. Supaya juga macam the blood cells, this one strive on values. And that's the values that make us God conscious. That's the compass that tells us every day whether we are in a balance ataupun tidak. Yeah, when I walk into a classroom, when I walk into a meeting, when I meet a friend, what state of balance I am in. And we are reminded of first, you don't make decisions when you are angry. When this part here is not functioning, you don't make decisions. Because the decisions that you're going to make is going to be a bad decision, an imbalanced decision. Right? We are also told that don't make decision bila orang puji banyak lebih-lebih sangat. Ini baguslah Tan Sri, nampak muda, gini. Gini boleh naik pangkat tak apa. Yeah? Because we lose our sense of balance. Right? And that's the kind of things that we need to adapt to in an environment that we, and this is where the nilai is, that fits into this, just like your blood vessel. You can imagine every of your blood vessel, every of your cells, blood cells too, has got this value carried with it. And it goes just like all the other values all over your body. Alright? So God consciousness katanya is rooted in the experiential knowledge, cultivated to the intuition and spiritual reflection of the heart. And that's why I say that's a reference point. The reference point is the heart. But the heart must be nurtured, must be cleansed, must be in a pristine sort of state where we talk about the fitrah. Right? And it is a state of balance, and just like the people who exercise, we need to exercise juga. To exercise kita lebih murah. We don't have to buy this leotard, we don't have to buy jogging shoe, we don't have to buy the treadmill. Lepas main subuh duduklah, another half an hour, bacalah apa yang patut boleh kita baca and stuff like that, because it then help with the balance. Yeah? And it's just not just about kita. That other people will do meditation, The Buddhists, the Hindus will do meditation. Tak boleh duduk meditation bersila, boleh duduk atas kursi macam kita juga. Meaning to say this is part and parcel of our lifestyle, but we have forgotten this because ini tak ada KPI. Kefahaman kita kalau kata pagi ada subuh baca KPI, agaknya kita buatlah. Tapi kita buat kerana KPI bukan kerana Tuhan. The different source is where I talk about the higher purpose. And that is a different thing altogether when we talk about building the human balance. And therefore Al-Ghazali says this, remember it is the heart and not the body which strives to draw near to God. By heart I do not mean the flesh perceived by the senses, but the secret thing which sometimes expressed by the spirit and sometimes by the soul. Kalau ini tidak ada, if this is empty, the God consciousness is not there, then we develop another kind of a trait yang kita katakan the ordinary human traits, all this book that we read about. The moment you get consciousness with all this submissive heart and the 4 elements that I talked about, then it takes from here. So it becomes a process of inside out, bukan outside in. Most leadership training is about outside in. You get motivated, it becomes hari itu berapi-api lah, but you cannot sustain it because dalam kosong. Tetapi kalau dalamnya berisi, then the fire, the flame starts from inside and it moves out in this particular context. I think the Rasul punya what you call hadis, everybody knows, tentang sekumpal daging, kalau dia baiklah, kalau tidak, dia tidaklah. I'm trying to visualize that so that we have got a sense of what it is. If I talk about a corrupted heart, it has to start with a corrupted environment, and the corrupted environment mungkin a plug in your saluran darah. When the plug saluran darah, then the color of the heart tu mungkin change a little bit, right? And kalau we go on not cleansing it, you get more corrupted. And suddenly the heart becomes hardened, and suddenly it becomes inefficient in providing blood flow from the heart itself, and suddenly you lose a sense. Ngamuk boleh. Can I get back to? So you get that, and you become a different person altogether, right? It gets worse, right? Ini katakan nafs amarah. You become that animal that people see you. Rupanya manusia tapi perangannya macam setan. Puan tahu ni. And dalam Quran dia kata ni lah. Manifesting the inciting ego, nafs almarah, and this is because of the disequilibrium in WCJT, that is worth, courage, temperance, and justice. All because the environment is out of balance. And that's what we talk about, this balance in the context of Qalbu. And kita katakan, therefore, the Quran mengatakan they have the heart which they do not understand, and the heart becomes just another organ that has no shine as far as the fitrah is concerned. So Al-Ghazali says this very quickly, that I just mentioned this here, a branch of wisdom, courage, temperance and justice in a perfect equilibrium. These 4 has been attained by no one but the emissaries of God. Other people are divergent degrees of proximity and distance from. Ini kita lah ni. We need to arrive at this balance, and therefore that's a struggle. That's a jihad that we talked about. The word mizan, and they kata in the state of primal simplicity, one will do what is right not only without having to think about it, but even without knowing it. Kalau fitrah kita itu bersih, kita boleh tahu mana yang betul, mana yang salah. Kita kadang tak fikir, because it's part and parcel of kita punya fitrah, and that's what I think this leadership model is all about. When you arrive at the sejahtera, which is the highest of it, sudah amarah, matminah, and this way. The stage, the soul becomes tranquil at peace, which is sejahtera. This is why we're coming back to the word kesejahteraan diri. dalam falsafah. Apabila kita dah patuh dan taat kepada Tuhan, kita akan dapat kesejahteraan diri ini dalam konteks ini. Yeah. One is firm in his faith and leave bad manners behind. The adherent free themselves from materialism and worldly concern and satisfy with the will of God by responding appropriately. Right? And the inner and the outer being, the soul and the body are able to conform to the purpose of the fitrah and the objectives of the law with the Sharia. And finally, we get into a situation where all these things becomes part and parcel of the balance that we talk about. Yeah? Courage, temperance, justice, ini akan main. Our ego, our nafs, our intellect, and our qalbu becomes that tools that create the balance. And this is where the training comes in. Just as much as we train in other leadership models and so on and so forth. When the fitrah is actualized and attain the state of spiritual being, then you see wisdom and justice and part and parcel of it. Yeah? So that is a whole concept where we are trying to develop at the moment in time, where not only the mind and the brain, but also the heart and the soul comes together in this perfect balance. And I think Dr. Mahazan was here to talk a little bit about this. Yeah? So dalam definition, ya, Al-Ghazali mengatakan justice denotes playing of the rightful place. Outwardly, it concerns the relationship between me and others and ensuring justice and fair treatment. But intrinsically, it is about me and God. It is about giving what is due to whom it is due, the way it is due, and foremost about managing oneself before applying it to fellow humans, the society, God, and actualizing the perfect balance. I want to underline this. Managing oneself. Ini dalam buku Stephen Covey, dia mengatakan there is no public victory without private victory. In other words, if you cannot manage yourself, it is impossible for you to manage others. First of all, people do not see you walk the talk. Yeah? Kita cakap satu benda, kita buat satu benda. And people are not convinced that you are authentic and have that integrity within you. Yeah? These are different with all other leadership traits yang saya dah baca. Semua mengatakan jadi leader, okay, let's try and discipline people outside, but nobody talks about disciplining yourself. And therefore, when you talk about climate change, global warming misalnya, most of the problems are because of the human being, not because of the forest, not because of anything, because of you. You do not know how to discipline yourself. And therefore, that discipline is where this whole idea of qalbu comes into picture. The receptacle, which we then finally call the qalbu. And this comes from Syed Naqib's work, which talks about the same thing. I think Syed Naqib is well known to you, I think. Concept of justice in Islam does not only refer to the relational situation of harmony and equilibrium existing between one person to another, but between society and the state, or between society and the state, or ruler or the rule, or between the king and the subject, which is more profoundly, fundamentally, is so referred to the primary way to the harmonious and rightly balanced relationship that exists between the man and himself. Di sini kita bermula. Yeah? The 12 enemies that Al-Ghazali was talking about, how do you discipline that? How do you make sure that you are in a state of balance? Yeah? Then, dia kata, in a secondary way, only such exists between him and others, and also between him and his fellow men, the ruler and the king, and the society and the state. This is what the fundamental difference is. Kita berbalik-balik kepada diri kita dan mengatakan bagaimana kita mengasuh diri kita supaya kita ini dapat sempurna sebelum kita menyempurnakan orang lain. Which is, I think, quite a major difference from what this, what you call Burns was trying to say in this context. Yeah? And Al-Ghazali is very clear in this. Dia mengatakan bahawa if you want to talk about the state of balance, dia kata this, quote-unquote, if you want to talk about the KPI. Orang yang balance wisdomnya, dia kata you should be able to bring forth discretion, excellence, understanding the subtlety of implication of your action, and the hidden defects of the soul. Discretion maknanya timbang tara. Ya. Excellence ini lebih daripada excellence yang kita biasa faham dari segi number saja. Understanding the subtlety of implication, for example, if I want to fire somebody else, nak buang kerja, pasal dia tak buat kerja, tak apa. Tapi I do also understand bila dia tak ada kerja, apa jadi pada anaknya, apa jadi pada isterinya, apa jadi pada keluarganya. That's a balance that I need to take into account. Kita buang bapa dia kerja, anak dia terberhenti sekolah, isterinya terpaksa kerja tempat lain. That is the subtlety that we talked about. That is the sensitivity of the heart. Dia bukan kata, you are fired, habis. Finish, dia dah tak ada sini dah. But you are generating other problems, other societal problems sometimes. And this, sometimes I also disagree with the MACC. Orang tu belum lagi dapat di-charge rasuah, dah pakai baju oranye. Ya, lock up SPRM. Saya katakan bahawa bila bapaknya ataupun maknya dah pakai baju oranye tu, anaknya akan menderita. You are not sure whether the father is guilty. He's still innocent because he's not proven guilty. But anaknya dah mula menderita, keluarganya dah menderita, masuk dalam TV, ambil gambar, juru kamera yang tak berhenti-berhenti. Mengaibkan orang yang tidak bersalah dan belum tahu bersalah. That's the kind of role that we should be playing. Ya? Dan mengaibkan orang dalam konteks ini. Kalau katanya temperance, you will feel this. Generosity, modesty, patience, tolerance. Ya. Ini yang saya katakan KPI itu. Saya sendiri boleh merasakan, I don't need for you to tell me whether I'm generous today. Sometimes I may look generous, but I'm not that generous because I'm not in a state of balance. Ya. If I'm courageous, I have this feeling, nobility, endurance, dignity, suppression of rage. Kalau saya masuk-masuk je, mula dengan kuliah ni maki-maki orang semua, then I have this problem. As far as courage is concerned, I'm out of balance today. Ya. Jadi kita sebagai manusia dan bukan payah leader pun saya rasa, kita sudah boleh menjaga diri kita sendiri menggunakan very rough but important sort of criteria. I becomes a KPI of myself. When I want to see you, I want to make sure that I've got all these criteria. So orang tahu, Tan Sri Zul datang bagi ceramah hari ini, dia in the state, dia tak maki-maki kami pun. Ya? Tapi masuk-masuk je, belum baling file pada kerani. Apa ni? Rupanya pagi itu, isterinya tak siapkan dia sarapan. Kerani yang kena. Ya? Because you cannot control that, the suppression of rage. And because of that, then, sorry, what's happening? It's technology, because saya nak cakap tentang Fourth Industrial Revolution ni, dia tak apa nak cooperate dengan saya. The equilibrium of this principle, good traits, and then you proceed in the service of justice. Then justice itself. You may be seen as a weak leader, but justice is more important than power. Sebaliknya, if this is absent, then you have this cunningness, swindling, deception, and slyness. Hari ini, I may look generous, but because I'm very cunning today, I want to make sure that something goes on here. Yeah? Then I know I'm not in a state of balance as far as wisdom is concerned. Right? Begitu juga dalam konteks temperance. If today I'm greedy, cupidity, ostentatious, morality, I know temperance, I'm not there. And dari segi courage is the same thing. Yeah? Recklessness, pride, arrogance, conceited, and quick to anger. Sebab tu dalam dua, Al-Ghazali kata, one is to control marah. Yeah? Marah yang tidak berasas dan tak ada pasal-pasal. Yeah? That is, I think, the real trait of what a leader is all about. And if you're in the state of balance, then dia kata you will not be able to deliver justice. It's very clear. Ini dah boleh buat dah. Once you know this, you already can behave like a good leader based on the principle of Al-Ghazali. And if everybody behaves like this, then nobody needs to monitor anybody. You just monitor yourself. Everything will go in a free-flowing manner. Yeah? So, let me relate this back to what we are trying to do. Ya, kita katakan bahawa kalau kita lihat the insignia of Islam ni, yang 8 ni, it is already a state of balance. You can see the symmetry. Yeah? It's just not, it looks nice, but there's a message behind it. And it is, yeah, consciousness from low consciousness to high consciousness. Ini juga maknanya, yeah, we move from the very physical to the very spiritual. We want to move that side. And also the same thing from very external outside to something which is internal, from bodily to the soul. All right? And what do? We want to put this, the 4 things, wisdom, courage, temperance, and justice, in that quadrant. The process of doing it is what we call adab. Yeah? Kadang-kadang kerja kita tidak beradab kerana kita tidak mengikut proses yang betul. Right? That is a challenge for all of us. You need to create this high consciousness, which is God consciousness, and also a clean heart, so that these 4 things can be easily balanced within that particular ambient. Right? Daripada adab, baru kita dapat peradaban. And that's the way we work. The civilization, the values, the system. Yeah? And this is what the institution is all about. Masuk UTM, kita boleh tahu adabnya macam mana. Yeah? Masuk satu place lagi, kita tahu mana adabnya. And this is what the civilizational context is all about. Yeah? And Ibn Khaldun has mentioned this quite readily. Kalau adab itu tidak betul, then the peradaban itu akan luntur. Dan kebanyakan dari peradaban itu akan luntur bergantung kepada kepemimpinan, the leadership itself. Yeah? If the leadership is bad, then the civilization goes down, then another civilization will come and up and down. This is something that we see every day. Yeah? Cyclically, empire naik, empire jatuh, and so. And if you look at the Islamic civilization saja, keruntuhannya kerana peradabannya sudah tidak ada. That is a very clear sign of where the adab stays. And therefore, we need to look at the leadership balik semula. And the leadership yang kita katakan next need to be basic balik kepada what Al-Ghazali said. Yeah? And kita akan cuba masukkan adab, dan alam adab ini, the purposeful act in which justice is actualized. In other words, the balance of these 3 or 4 things that we talked about as part and parcel of the basic leadership model in this particular context. Okay? But to make it look corporate sikit, kalau tidak kata ini apa ni, selekeh aja. Nak look corporate sikit dengan grafnya, dengan x-axisnya, y-axisnya, kata wah ni darah lah ni. Yeah? Okay. High consciousness, less spirituality. High spirituality, less consciousness. Alright. Where do we put this? We put this somewhere there. Cycle je. Kita mula dengan asuhan, nurturing, not just training. Nurturing maknanya is a 24-hour job. Dia bukan datang kursus 3 hari, berhenti 1 hari, datang lagi, you forget about it. You need to nurture it macam kita menanam pokok. We have to baja dan jaga dia tiap-tiap hari. Everybody will start with a very physical way, bodily ni. Dapat pangkat, dapat kedudukan, oh hari itu dah happy dah. Aku hari ni baru jadi apa ni, ketua ini. Ya. Dah mula nak buat perubahan dah. Oh ni dah jadi ketua ni. Ya. Besok mesti nak buat ni. Kalau tidak, apalah dia ketua kan, tak berubahnya. Dah mula. Ya. Dan kita mulalah buat karismanya, peluk orang sana, jaga orang sini, salam sini, senyum sini. All sisi sudah mendapat sokongan. Very bodily, very external. Yeah? And some people believe you, some people don't believe you, especially if you got a terrible track record. And then you start to build success. Yeah? And then you begin to have influences are all where your intellectual things comes in. Right? You build that. You move another level of leadership. But finally, you want to arrive at there where spiritually you are well balanced. Balik-balik pada Al-Ghazali kata tadi itu. And that well balance itu memerlukan ketiga-tiga ini. The physical presence, the mental presence and the spiritual presence, you must be at the same time. Maknanya you must be the whole person. Kadang-kadang kita tengok dia datang, dia ketua tapi kita bercakap dia mentally he's not there, only physically he's there. You know, so you know he's probably not there. You need to be physically present when you are a leader in the particular context. Yeah? And that's the dynamics that we want to have. Finally, we talk about the leadership of habit. Di mana saja kita pergi, kita dilihat sebagai pemimpin. Bukan saja di sekolah, di jabatan, kita jadi pemimpin, balik rumah, lambat balik. Elah. That's not it. Di pasar kita tak jadi pemimpin, di rumah tak jadi pemimpin. Leadership of habit everywhere. You don't have to have even a position. People know you are a leader. And that's what the Prophet is all about. Yeah? And that's a balance that we want to arrive. We are a leader everywhere and anywhere, what I call a 360 degrees leadership. Di mana saja kita pergi, orang akan lihat kita sebagai pemimpin in that particular context. Yeah? So these dynamics, I think, is the dynamics that we want to be very mindful of. Yeah? The three dynamics ini yang penting bagi kita, which we are trying to develop, and that's where the peradaban moves from place to place. What is the problem? Dalam many leadership model, this is the biggest problem. Bila kita bercakap tentang modal insan tadi, the Western education system tu, bagi saya, this is a fundamental problem. The Western philosophical tradition has accustomed us to distinguish between the mind and the body, or the mind and the soul. Ada dua. Yeah? The cognitive process, the reason from the emotion, which is the passion, even though it could be more appropriate to try and explore and understand the relationship, that is the emotional nature of cognitive process and the cognitive nature of the emotional process. Dalam kalbu ini kita cuba gabungkan balik because we know it's one. The mind and the heart works in tandem with one another. I have no time to elaborate on it, but it works with one another. Kalau kita marah, ini akan tak boleh kita marah, kita masih slow je. It doesn't work that way. It has an tandem. And ini doesn't work well, then I think something else will happen, as Ghazali mentioned earlier. Okay? So, then we can put this back. Kita mula dengan nafs amarah tadi, and we move up to sampai insanul kamil tadi. Yeah? Dan dalam konteks itulah bila kita lihat di mana letaknya the presence tadi, kita nampak. Yeah? Sometimes the presence, kadang-kadang kita tengok, I met a person di Bosnia. Bila dia diceritakan bila hari Jumaat dia tidak ada di Bosnia. Dia kata dia orang apa ni, very warak ni, tapi tak pernah sembahyang Jumaat pun di Bosnia. Rupanya dia sembahyang di Madinah. Yeah? It moves beyond kita punya understanding. Orang ni has gone to somewhere else. Hari Jumaat dia sembahyang di Madinah, dia tidak sembahyang di Bosnia. How does that happen? Ordinary mind will not tell you it will happen. But then it happens because people meet him in Madinah hari Jumaat. Yeah? So these are issues yang mungkin beyond what we are talking today, but it is a reality of life. That once you arrive at a level of this nature, you are no longer, within this realm that we are talking about. But it becomes important to me, therefore, kita menukar istilah-istilah yang kita gunakan. Kalau bercakap tentang modal insan ini, di sini je lah kita. We can never be there. Yeah? Because the values and the dimension that we talked about are very superficial, very limited, as I explained to you. We need to break that out. Dan kesudahannya, bila kita bercakap dengan manusia, kita nak jadi this perfect human being. Dalam falsafah pendidikan kita bercakap tentang manusia yang seimbang dan harmonis. One kind of requirements that we talk about. Yeah? So how do you balance this? Biar balik pada falsafah pendidikan kebangsaan tadi, bila kita katakan bahawa kita terpaksa percaya dan patuh kepada Tuhan, how do you then translate this? Yeah, so every agama then will try translate it in themselves. Kita di USIM, kita melihat what we call the quintuple helix model. Quintuple maknanya 5. Yeah? Now we talk about 4, 3 dan sebagainya. Pada 3, pada 4, we talk mula-mula tentang government, industry and university. Now government, industry, university and community, 4. Yeah? But here we are talking about different things. We are not talking about organization. We are talking about values as per the Maqasid Syariah. Yeah? The quintuple helix model is not based on organization or institutions like society, university and government. The aim is beyond innovation in creating balanced community across humanity. Right? And that's the 5 things. Yeah? Life, intellect, progeny, wealth and faith. Kita tak mau pakai istilah Maqasid Syariah ini kerana dia, perkataan syariah ini is a bad word now lah. Kita buat syariah je, when are you going to cut my head katanya. So we say, now they convert it into the word necessities, keperluan. Yeah? Ini semua keperluan dalam hidup. Mesti ada ini. You have life but no intellect, you have intellect, you have no wealth, you have no anak and no faith. It's not complete in the context of Maqasid. Maqasid wants us to protect this and promote this. And therefore we say the balanced framework is a quintuple helix model with universal aim to make living peacefully in just, equitable, balanced world, not only the microcosm which is kita, but also the macrocosm which is the world outside. And the microcosm and the macrocosm must in a state of balance juga. Yeah? Because the rhythm of life is the rhythm what nature gives us. And that's why kadang-kadang bila saya memikirkan tentang the 4th industrial revolution, that is not the rhythm of life. Yeah? Baru pagi tadi bila saya buka TV pagi tadi, kuliah subuhnya saya dengar dia kata, kita bila semayang ni kita mesti semayang perlahan-lahan. Ada apa ni, makninahnya, ada bacanya, kita khusyuknya, ya. Tapi dalam kerja kita mesti cepat. It's a kind of a different things that kalau semayang cepat dia macam tu je lah. 3 saat habis dah. Ya. Di mana khusyuknya, di mana the measure is not the same. The measure is not the same. That's why now there's a book. Please read this book called The Slow Professor. Yeah? It's produced in Sweden because orang Sweden ni dia betul-betul reflecting. Dia kata, why a slow professor? Dia kata, the professor must sit down and think before you jump into some conclusion. If you work like clockwork, you have no time to think. I think that's Malaysia. Yeah? Ada ini buat ini, ada ini buat ini, ada ini buat ini. Apa yang kita buat kita tak tahu. Yeah? Kesudahannya kita pun jadi macam that machine that we are trying to emulate. Right? So ini yang kita kata the microcosm tu. Yeah? And the 5th one is the faith. Yeah, this is the model that we talked about. The macrocosm is what, at the end of the day has to be justice juga. Yeah? Dalam Maqasid Syariah, kesudahannya, keadilan juga adalah penting as an end point. And the microcosm is that. Kalau kita lihat, life, biar dia hidup tapi dia mesti bermaruah. Kadang-kadang kita hidup tidak bermaruah, then it's as good as mati. Yeah? If you don't live with dignity, it's as good you are dead because nobody respects it. Intellectual is about harnessing people and their minds. Yeah? Progeny is about not just human beings, but everything else in the planet. Termasuk haiwannya, termasuk pokoknya, termasuk tumbuhannya, in that particular context, anything that's living. Yeah? Prosperity, wealth ini is about prosperity, not just kita punya benda-benda aja. We are talking about the air, we're talking about the water, we're talking about the soil, we're talking about the whole environment yang diamanahkan oleh Tuhan kepada kita. That's how we interpret it quite differently. Yeah? And faith is about working together, believing in all these things can come together. Right? So ini sebenarnya is the goal of the sustainable development goal that we talked about sekarang. Yeah? And it mirrors very closely to this. We have written a book on it. Bagaimana kita boleh interpret ini dalam konteks Maqasid Syariah. Dan kesudahannya arriving at the same point, which is justice. And that's the model that we are developing now in the context of trying to evaluate what this model of leadership is all about. Okay? Ini dia katanya, if we were to wipe out insects alone in this planet, the rest of human being would probably also disappear at the same time. Because we need this relationship, this partnership with all the other species around us. But what is troubling me now is basically bila kita bercakap tentang this modernization, yeah, we are beginning to focus on this. This is why I brought this in, because you are UTM, you are technology. Yeah? This is what it is now. Yeah? Bapa dengan anaknya dan cucunya. Right? This is what I call the technology takeover. Yeah? Dia dengan ni je, yang ini tak ada pun tak apa. Cucunya tak ada pun tak apa. Dia dengan ni je. Yeah? Dan the world is going to go into this now. When they talk about designer baby. Belum lagi anak tu lahir, kita dah boleh buat menu. Mata nak biru, rambut nak ungu, perut nak puncit, boleh. Yeah? Dapatlah anaknya begitu. That's what your technology. Technology is telling you and planning for you. The fitrah is no longer there. It becomes an empty soul that we talked about very much earlier. And how does this happen? Because we are all now connected through, but we are just connected externally. And that's why tadi Datuk Yasmin tanya, apa nombor apa ni, handphone? Sorry, saya tak ada handphone. Huh? Ada handphone? Because we are all connected externally saja. Yeah? Tak kira lah budak kecil, tua, dunia membangun, dunia tak membangun, berenang, tak berenang, we are all connected externally, meaning to say we are internally zero. Anak muda sekarang ni tanya dia, kalau hilang handphonenya, dia akan, the word gelabah, orang Penang say gelabah. Yeah? Walau handphone hilang, macam dunia nak kiamat esok. And because the world is there, dunia ni semua dalam ni. Yeah? And stuff like that. When you're internally disconnected, then you are allowing the computer to move in. And this is what is happening now. Yeah? The computer is no longer the thing outside, but is beginning to move in at the same time. And this is where the fourth industrial revolution becomes an issue for me. Yeah? Studies have shown, young generation, the TN50 punya group ni, 36% of student colleges cannot go 10 minutes without checking email, tablets, or handphone. Yeah? 10 minutes ni. 10 minutes. Sama ada benda tu bergerak, tak bergerak ke, dia mesti nak tengok juga. Yeah? Mesti nak tengok juga. And the latest research yang mengatakan every morning, the first thing you do is to look at your handphone. Air mata pun tak kering lagi, handphone dulu tengok. Yeah? And that's not bad enough. Dia kata, in the whole day you will look at the handphone 200 times. This is a global study. 200 times you will look at the handphone again. Ada tak ada message tak apa, mesti nak tengok juga ni. Macam orang bercinta lah, tengok. Yeah? Kalau kita katakan handphone tu katalah rokok, bangun pagi isap rokok. Yeah? Dan kita akan isap rokok 200 kali satu hari. Maknanya 10 pack of 20. What does that make you? That makes you a tobacco addict. Why can't I call you if you do this handphone addict? Boleh tak? Boleh kot. Yeah? And this is what I think the technology takeover is all about. With enough evidence menunjukkan there is addiction going on, and Korea is the best place to do it. Korea ada banyak sekarang ni addiction center. Orang-orang yang macam drug center juga, but they now retraining people how to control themselves, not to use handphone overtly. Back to the self-control punya issue. And that's what the technology takeover is all about. Saya kuatir technology takeover tu, they take over your mind. You are unable to think anymore. Yeah? You are so beholden to whatever is coming from outside, not coming from inside. And this is a discussion that I want to take you on when we talk about the fourth industrial revolution. I think you understand this better than I do. Yeah? We have this human intelligence, which is basically, sorry, the word akli should not be there, nakli should not be there. The word human intelligence ni kata ada slow process ni. Memang kita slow. Biologically we are slow. And we are supposed to be slow because the body rhythm is slow. Yeah? As compared to this artificial intelligence ni, which is almost exponential. Right? Now, we are predicting there is a point where the human intelligence and the artificial intelligence meet, and this is what we call the point of singularity. Yeah? Some people kata it will happen just after 2020, some people kata it will not happen, some people kata it will happen later. But let's assume it will happen. If it doesn't happen, tak apa. Macam Y2K, it doesn't happen, okay. But what about it happens? If it happens, then you will produce another species called the post-human species. It's not you anymore. It's not me anymore. Yeah? The species where artificial intelligence and the human intelligence interact. And then kita balik-balik pada soal etika, soal moral, soal fitrah. Who controls what? If the technology take over, then certainly this controls the human person. You have no control over it. Yeah? Depending on the kind of situation that we talk about. Therefore, the question we ask, is technology become just a purpose? And this is why I talk about the higher purpose. What is the higher purpose for all this? What is the higher purpose for 4IR? Apa bendanya? Yeah? Does it make human being better or does it make human being worse? What is the issue that we are going to tackle in this particular context? Kita di USIM kita bercakap tentang kalau ini ilmu yang boleh kita gunakan untuk ilmu nakli, iaitu ilmu daripada Rabbani, ilmu ketuhanan, dan ini hanya kita gunakan pada ilmu yang kita dapat daripada luar. Yeah? Bila singularity itu datang, will this be dominant over this? Maknanya apa yang kita belajar tentang agama dan fitrah dan sebagainya, it doesn't mean much. In fact, it doesn't have any value at all. Because now we are detected by another group of people, transhuman, posthuman, in the wordnya sama aja, and it becomes the domination of akli. Bagi saya will be an akli intelligence rather than artificial intelligence per se. That I think is the crux of the issue when we begin to understand what Qalb is all about. Di mana peranan Qalb di sini? Ada ataupun tidak ada. Yeah? So, are we putting humanity before machines or are we putting machines before humanity? I think that's the first question that I would ask when we talk about the fourth industrial revolution. Di mana kedudukan insan dan kemanusiaan ataupun keinsanan itu with respect to the machine that we are going to create. Yeah? I think there are two choices bagi saya. One is sama ada kita memusatkan kepada manusia itu sendiri, become anthropocentric. Dan bila kita memusatkan, bagi saya, we go back to what we call, there is already an intelligence in the human being, where we use the word primordial ataupun primal intelligence, iaitu fitrah. Fitrahnya sudah ada dalam manusia itu. Ya? Dan fitrahnya itu berpusat kepada qalbu dan juga akalnya. Adakah ini yang kita akan lakukan? Ataupun ini yang kita akan lakukan? Kita berpusat kepada teknologi, instead of using the primordial intelligence, kita berpusat kepada the artificial intelligence. Yeah? Dan dengan itu, ini terus dihindarkan. We have no use for it. Because artificial intelligence has nothing to do with the heart, per se. At least not now. Yeah? Kalau ini dia punya option, which we think the USIM will take this option, then we develop another model, what we call the fifth human revolution. Ya, itu macam mana kita bawa balik spirituality, macam mana kita bawa balik consciousness, macam mana kita bawa balik soal-soal yang tidak boleh diukur tetapi penting bagi kehidupan manusia. Kalau kita berpusatkan kepada ini, dan kita hanya bercakap tentang how do you do a good machine, automation, the kind of discussion that we have now. I think that's a decision that you need to make, or we need to make, to move forward as far as this fourth industrial revolution is concerned. Yeah. The last few slides was just to basically enhance this argument. Kalau ini will be machines before humanity, but the leaders of tomorrow I think will look at this. Macam mana kita mempertahankan dalam konteks maqasid syariah tadi ada 5 benda. 5 benda itu tak ada kena-mena dengan ini. There's no faith here, there's no life here, there's no progeny here, there's no intellect, maybe there's intellect in a certain sense, yeah? But there's not as much as this one here. Ini soal yang perlu kita jawab dalam perbincangan kita with the 4IR. I think this is the new human capital 2.0, ada hati tapi kosong. Yeah. How do you humanize this becomes an issue, and this harmonization is what I think the Qalb leadership is all about. Memulihkan balik hati-hati yang sudah kering, yang tandus, yang tidak ada berfungsi ataupun dilupakan sama sekali. How do you bring this back into the picture to harmonize it? And this is where the concept of the fifth human revolution becomes important to us. Yeah? My last slide is this. As a summary mungkin, kalau kita lihat carta ini, the first human revolution, the first industrial revolution ini, dia mengatakan the learner's experience is the factory model, exactly like what you said. Yeah? Universiti ini sebagai kilang menghasilkan produk-produk untuk dijual untuk pembangunan ekonomi sebagai human capital tadi. Right? Dan kita balik kepada the first IR ni, bermula dengan ini. Yeah? First IR ini bukan saja mesinnya yang penting. Kita bercakap tentang teknologi, yes, is important. But dia juga disrupt the social fabric. Gambar ini menunjukkan sebelum adanya industri revolution, ini tidak ada. Sekarang ini dengan adanya industrial revolution, sudah ada satu orang yang melabur kepada satu benda yang dikerjakan oleh manusia yang dipanggil sebagai modal insan. The word boss comes into the vocabulary during the first and the second revolution. Kalau tidak, tak ada bos. Dulu tak ada bos, masing-masing kerja sama-sama. Okay? A different kind of social environment. This is the environment that we created now oleh kerana the fourth industrial revolution. Okay? Keduanya, bila kita bercakap tentang the industrial revolution ni, kita lupa tentang asap ni. The global warming, the climate change yang kita dapat sekarang ini, hasilnya daripada sini. Yeah? Second industrial revolution, the third revolution becomes a whole issue that we are facing today in terms of climate change. And last but not least, kalau kita nak pergi the fourth industrial revolution, kita ini terpaksa dia kata the fourth industrial revolution talks about the development of the whole person. Back to what we have been talking about. Manusia dengan fitrahnya, dengan kalbunya, dengan keseluruhan physical, mental, dengan spirituality. That is the fourth industrial revolution. And kita telah kadang-kadang salah anggap. When we talk about the industrial revolution ni, kita hanya bercakap tentang mesin, tapi manusianya kita tidak cakap. Malah dia kata the whole person. Bukan saja the technology part. Somebody was telling me, bila training, kita dah ajar teknologi saja. Manusia tak penting dah, pasal kita ingatkan the fourth industrial revolution just about the machine. The people are not important. It's not. Yeah? And for that to happen, we need to start to deconstruct some of the issues that we see. Yeah? So soalnya sekarang ini, bagaimana kita nak move dari factory yang model yang ada sekarang ini di universiti kepada ini. That is the biggest challenge bagi saya. Yeah? And this is why if you go to Japan, Japan has produced another document called the Fifth Social Revolution. Pasal dia membayangkan apa dia social dimension yang dia perlukan supaya dia boleh ganjak ini ke situ. Kita tidak. Kita ini ganjak ke sini. Kita punya ganjak kemari je. Very lateral. Yeah? But ini there is a movement up. I want to share with you as a conclusion my discussion with Finland. Yeah? Saya bertanya kepada DG itu, dia kata, what makes Finland so good in terms of education? So I'm hoping to say bahawa in Finland kita ada teknologi ini, kita ada Nokia, kita ada itu gini. Tapi tak ada. Jawapannya saja, the first jawapannya dia kata, we believe in the culture of trust. Budaya amanah. That's the first thing. Semua orang masuk ke universiti katanya, pertama sekali kita ada budaya amanah. Okay, tanya dia, what about kalau orang tu betray your trust? Dia pecah amanah, apa you all buat? Oh, dia kata that is a difficult question to answer. I've been working here kata for 10 years. I've worked with maybe thousands of teachers, but nobody has broken my trust. Saya pun terpinga-pinga lah sekejap. Kalau kat Malaysia satu hari 10 orang tak ada break my trust. Dia 10 tahun seorang pun tak ada break trust dia. Okay. Dia kata, you know why? Dia kata, the moment I trust him or her, then it creates a culture of pride of work. So if you trust me to make this presentation, I want to show how good I am in presenting this to you. Doesn't matter whether VC ada, tak ada, VC tak ada, because you have trusted me, I want to give you my pride of work. This is the best that I can do for you. Not because besok VC tak ada, tak apalah, malam ni boleh buat dia orang, kau boleh apa pun, dah lah, 2 jam sudah, pergilah, I will not meet them again. You know, that's the kind of attitude we got. But I think in Finland tak ada. Because you give me the trust, I want to show you the best that I can do. That pride of work ini dalam environment kita agaknya tidak begitu jelas. Yeah. I will take this as an example, masuk je lah dalam surau kita. I don't see any pride of work dalam surau kita. Sejadahnya lintang pukang, seliparnya lintang pukang, baunya na'udzubillah. Yeah. Yang we don't feel that surau is our surau. Dah semayang sejarah tu buang tak apalah. Yeah, next person can do it. Yeah. Dia kata that is what it is. Budaya amanah itu memberi mereka satu rasa bahawa kerja mereka ini perlu dihargai dan menghargai. And that dia kata sustain the education system. And therefore dia kata there's no assessment. No KPIs. I think, what about KPIs? What is KPI? We are not a factory. No assessment. Kalau ada assessment pun kata dekat kelompok-kelompok dia je. One department buat assessment dia sendiri. Buat assessment dia sendiri untuk menentukan di mana mereka. There's no global assessment for the institution. Why? Because they don't need to be assessed. And that's why the school, there's no homework. Because the teacher has given the best during the class, and that is enough. Tak payah nak pergi tuition, tak payah nak pergi cram school, kalau tak boleh bunuh diri pula, and things like that. And that is what this whole human person is all about. Yeah? Dan satu lagi dia kata, because of that, dia punya planning, this is something yang berbalik-balik pada cerita saya tadi, as a long term plan. Ada satu buku, katalah kita ada blueprint ni, dia akan tidak bertukar selama 25 tahun. So itu saya tahu macam mana nak merancang, kerana I know this plan will not change. Tak kira lah menterinya tukar ke, VC-nya tukar ke, dekannya tukar ke, tak kira. The plan stays. And therefore everybody know how to relate the plan ini. VC dah tukar, tunggulah dia bagi ucapan tahun depan, apa pula dia nak buat ni? Menteri nak tukar ni, tunggulah dulu, apa pula cakapnya? So there is no consistency in planning. Bagi dia tidak. It doesn't matter who comes, who goes, the plan stays because this is a national plan. And they develop. So saya tanya, then how come you are so good with teams and PISA? Oh, dia kata teams and PISA is not, we don't aim for teams and PISA. It happens. Karena kita berlaku sedemikian, it automatically happens. And this is what Islam talks to us about. Kalau kita Muslim yang baik, kita tak payahlah nak buat macam-macam. Dia jadi begitu saja. Macam kita tanam pokok benih yang bagus, dia jadi gitu je. Dia tak payah nak jadi benda lain. So kita salah anggap. Kita kata, oh Finland ni bagus tim and PISA-nya. Agaknya dia menyuruh pelajar-pelajarnya buat tim and PISA. Kita pun ambil lah soalan-soalan lama, buat macam kita exam, macam saya exam dulu lah. Ambil old question, jawab. Tak betul juga kita. Ya? Pasal you don't train for the exam, you just train for the person. The person is good enough, and therefore the exam results becomes better. And that is what it is all about. So ini dia. So kalau saya masakan kalau kita tergesa-gesa on the fourth industrial revolution ni membuat segala benda yang lain, I think we will still miss a boat. I think we still miss a boat. Yeah? In that context, I want to think about balik semula apa yang kita boleh lakukan dari segi, sorry, let me just turn back, ya, dari segi yang lain. Yeah? So the lifelong learning is important for us. Anyone can teach because the standard is the same. Dia kata dekat Finland, you go to any school lah, the variation is just 5%. Bukan sekolah KL lebih baik, sekolah Gua Musang parah. And therefore orang Gua Musang pinjam address KL kan nak pergi sekolah KL. Yeah? Ataupun sekolah Tafiz terbakar saja kerjanya. Yeah? And that is not. Dia kata the consistency of the school is just 5% because the quality of work, the amanah is the same. I can transfer school from one school to another, the teacher will perform exactly the same in this particular context. So ini benda-benda yang saya rasakan yang kita perlu lihat, not just the mechanical part, which I think the easiest part, but the non-mechanical part, the human part, and the humanness becomes an important thing. Yeah? So I hope I have managed to give you the big picture of why we want to look at leadership, not because we are a Muslim country and therefore want to make Islam number one. That is maybe one of it. But I think there's a crisis as far as leadership is concerned. And the crisis becomes clear because there is one dominant part in the crisis, in the leadership model is not addressed, and that's a person. And the person is not being addressed as himself. Ya, kita mengajar orang ini untuk mengajar orang lain, kita tidak mengajar orang ini untuk mengajar diri dia sendiri, as what Al-Ghazali said. Yeah? And then that translates into the kind of institution we've got. The institution basically takes from the same model of neoliberal human capital theory and talks about a factory. It is not a university. Yeah? And therefore we talk about business and we talk about all sorts of other things yang penting tetapi tidak sepenting kalau dia tidak mendidik manusia itu sendiri. Right? And finally we talk about the heart, the mechanics of the heart. Very overall, we can go into deeper. We are developing the competencies of it and see how we actually can make sure that this competency is part and parcel of the training that we've got. And that training is not a training that kita pergi kepada kursus. Training itu kita buat tiap-tiap hari. Macam mana kita semayang, macam itulah training. Yeah? So at least this is something that we are working on, inshallah. And we are working very closely with UTM because some of the data that we got, we want to test it in a neutral place, and I think UTM has. Bagi saya lah banyak-banyak universiti, I think you are the most advanced in this particular work. So we want to tumpang and see how we can work together and bring this into a level, insyaAllah, yang kita boleh gunakan.